Shadow was purebred Alaskan Malamute that we got from a breeder in the States. She was 13 months old. We were away visiting Jennifer's parents. We had a house sitter taking care of the house and the dogs. Shadow dug under the fence and escaped. She ran into several people. When she was out, Shadow spotted the lady walking her dog across the way. As Shadow approached, the lady pulled her dog in tight to her right side and booted Shadow across the head. And she had an injury on the back of her leg. 35 days later, 2 RDCO officers and an RCMP officer show up at our door requesting to see Shadow.
And that's when they just ripped her out of my hands. That was very much illegal. They were not allowed to do that. We didn't know that.
The main dog control officer looked at me and said, "You should just let me put your dog down today and be less concerned about your dog's life and be more concerned about the civil litigation coming at you." We found out later, at that point, he hadn't even talked to a witness.
It was frustrating. It was maddening. It was like, it was this big injustice that was happening for no apparent reason.
She was in a 5 by 10 cell for 23 and a half hours a day for 15 months. We hired a private investigator to just look at the conditions. She basically just sat there, and he sat there with her for like 5 or 10 minutes, then put her back in the kennel.
If they're going to keep a dog for an extended period of time, they have got to have better facilities.
The first interest we had from the media was Blaine Gaffney from Global. He sat in on the second day of trial. At the end of the day, he came to me and says, "Peter, what is going on here? This doesn't make any sense." The 2 eyewitnesses absolutely destroyed the RDCO's case. We were basically on our way to Kelowna to sign the papers to start a civil suit against them. And they phoned us halfway there and said, "Come get your dog."
Kane nipped a boy while they were playing and was seized illegally without a warrant. He spent months in a cage so small he was unable to turn around. Near the end of Kane's trial, it appeared that the case was going in Kane's favor. The animal control officer left the courtroom and tried to kill Kane before the judge gave his verdict to release Kane back to his owner. Fortunately, Kane was saved just before she gave Kane the second deadly injection. She never lost her job, nor was she ever charged for her illegal act.
I was working upstairs in my office at my home, and in the meantime, our neighbors are in the backyard playing with Shiloh. The children that live in the neighborhood were going up and down the hill with their scooters, and Shiloh would run back and forth in the yard and get very excited watching them. Once he saw that the gate was open, he decided to run out, and he ran back and forth with them and apparently jumped on a child. And as soon as he did that, the child screamed so loud, I run out there and I see the neighbor and I see this child in his arms, and I lifted his shirt and I said, "Oh my God, how did he get these scratches on his back?" And the neighbor said, "Shiloh did that." The next day we came home after work, and there was a notice on the door that the animal control had said that they wanted to come over and speak to us. And so we told them the story, what happened, and then they told us that they wanted to take Shiloh to a kennel and have an assessment done on him. Based on what you told us, we believe that he's got a really high prey drive, and if he has a really high prey drive, that's very dangerous to humans. They said, "We just would like to do an assessment." And I said, "Okay, if I say yes to an assessment and let you take him to a kennel, what is the maximum amount of time he'll be in the kennel?" And they said 21 days. That's the maximum he would be in the kennel. And I said, "Okay, if it's 3 weeks and you want to assess my dog, I will give in to that. I'll let you take him to the kennel." We waited, and then 3 weeks came up. That day we went to City Hall, and he told us Jamie had decided that she wanted to euthanize our dog, and he took all the pictures and put them all over the table of the injured child, said, "Look what your dog did to this child. He's going to grow up to be a dangerous dog." I went on the internet and I found Rebecca Brader. She said, "No, your dog doesn't sound like it's a dangerous dog. It's just the city of Port Coquitlam has some of the most stringent laws in all of the Lower Mainland. What gets me more than anything else is they allowed someone with such little education to make a decision on my dog that I consider my child.
Diesel got into a few scuffles at the dog park and had complaints against him for running loose in the neighborhood and was declared a dangerous dog. His court case went all the way to the BC Supreme Court. Diesel lived in a small cell with a cold concrete floor for over 2 years. This is an unimaginable level of inhumane treatment. They never released any information as to what they did with Diesel, but they did spend a small fortune to kill him.
Animal control officers have so much discretion when designating a dog as aggressive or dangerous. That said, it is illegal and it would totally be unlawful for an animal control officer to say, that dog is aggressive, we're going to kill that dog. That is unlawful unless the dog owner consents to that happening. But very often what happens is that animal control officers come up to a dog owner's house. They say, your dog was involved in an incident. We're going to seize the dog, and you don't have a choice but to do that. And if you don't do that, it's gonna happen anyway, and your dog's gonna die. I'm oversimplifying it, but I have had so many clients come to me that more or less described the situation that they were in like that. The legislation right now, as it's currently drafted, the burden is very low for the city to prove that the dog meets the definition of dangerous. From the moment the dog is seized to the end of trial, it could be well over a year that the dog has been sitting in the pound. And so one of the problems with our provincial legislation here in British Columbia is that it does not provide for bail provision so that the dog can be released either back to his or her guardian or to a reputable doggy daycare type of facility where the dog can be safely housed and kept and in much better conditions than the current pound facilities throughout British Columbia. The other major problem that we have is that the legislation doesn't provide for conditional orders. And those conditions would include anything from requiring the dog to be muzzled in public to ensuring that the dog gets proper veterinary care, proper diet, proper training. Our dangerous dog laws here in British Columbia are absolutely terrible. And I say that from the perspective of someone who's trying to defend and fight for their dog's life. The legal system right now is stacked against dog guardians and dog owners who are fighting for their dogs. I'm talking specifically about the provincial legislation that allows municipalities to apply to court for an order that a judge puts down a dog. The legislation does not define what an injury is or what a serious injury is. All the legislation talks about is whether the dog injured another person or animal. So technically, it is so easy for any dog, dogs will be dogs, and sometimes they fight over a ball in an off-leash dog park and they will injure another dog technically, but it doesn't make that dog inherently aggressive or dangerous. We have a death penalty in British Columbia for dogs, and everyone should be worried about that.
Lulu caused a wound to a girl while playing with a group of kids. Lulu was taken under the belief she was going for a behavior assessment. The family was never read their rights. She was allegedly taken in front of the children and her family after the officers threatened to put the owner in jail if he did not release Lulu to them. They killed her within the hour. The family was advised that they wouldn't have to pay for her euthanasia or cremation.
I had been looking on the SPCA website for herding breed dog. I saw Echo, and he was a very playful puppy. I took him for a walk. We went back to the shelter, and they said the next steps were to come the next day to have a family member meet him. So I returned the next day. My husband took the leash this time. We walked, and then we went into an enclosed play area, and there was a ball in there, and my husband and Echo played fetch. We decided that we wanted to adopt him. So we completed the adoption. I had a receipt of purchase. We were at this point his legal owners. We were preparing to leave, my husband grabbed Echo's food. It was a large bag. It was a noisy material. And Echo jumped at my husband. He nipped his arm that was cradling the bag of food. My husband turned quickly, and Echo nipped at his ankle, and the jean was torn. I pulled the leash back. Staff member took the leash from me and walked Echo to a washroom. The staff member said she was going to process an immediate refund, and the adoption was canceled. We did not ask for a refund or adoption cancellation, but we complied because everything happened so fast, and we weren't thinking this was a final situation. Then a manager came in, asked what's going on. At that point, she asked me, would we be interested in fostering? She also said euthanasia was a possibility, and that I was absolutely shocked. I objected. I was referred to the regional manager. She was very reassuring and said that they were going to transfer him for a reassessment. I asked, could I get a rescue group perhaps for herding dogs? I found one. The rescue wanted to get involved. They wanted to take him. The regional manager had communication with this rescue also. When I hung up from her, I felt good. Everything changed. I received an email from her. She told me that they had put this puppy down. I was so shocked and so confused that a young dog can be adoptable at 3 o'clock in the afternoon one day and 11 o'clock the next day scheduled to be killed. Then my husband sent an email asking for the assessment. His email was returned. He was now considered a blocked sender. And that was I think that was quite ominous, because we're in communication. Why would we be blocked? My husband made a Facebook post of the story, included the video, and it got a lot of views and comments and response right away. Just by chance, my husband had come across somebody in his office who used to be at the province, and he said, the public should hear this story.
There's a big problem that we have while dogs are awaiting trial. They are put into dog pounds. Sometimes they can be in there for up to 2 years. That's a very, very long time for a dog to be away from their human, to be away from the comforts of home. They have a concrete cell that they're in. It's a very small cell, but by and large, it's an echo chamber of barking and despair. At the heart of these cases, we're looking at the rights of dog owners with public safety. And how do we balance that? We've seen dogs, for example, who go into the pound, not maybe too bad, but they come out and they're a mess. What we see is it can be a very quick escalation for a dog in a dog park or walking on the sidewalk to suddenly find themselves on death row. It can be extremely rapid. There is a fair bit of power and leeway given to animal control officers in how they interpret bylaws, how provincial laws are applied, how municipal laws are applied, and people don't realize how serious these cases can get. Animals are still treated like property under the law. This is property. This is a toy, obviously, but it is property. But a real animal, that is not property. They are sentient, living beings, and they need to be treated as such. Killing dogs as a punishment for public safety hasn't been working. We need to do a major rethink on this.
During an outdoor party, Leo jumped on a young girl, causing superficial injuries. No history of aggression was ever identified at trial. The judge released Leo to the SPCA to keep, rehome, or euthanize. The judge wrote that he did not find it necessary or reasonable to kill Leo. They sent Leo to the Coastal Animal Control in Nanaimo. Rather than give Leo a second chance, they killed him.
I got Tally when he was 6 months old. He was a beautiful, purebred German Shepherd. One afternoon, I went for a hike with a friend and her golden retriever. Started hiking all the way back up, and all of a sudden the retriever dashed up the mountainside and Tally followed the retriever, and then we heard a scream. So we immediately called the dogs back. They both came running back to us, and then we walked up the hill, and there was a woman with her leg on a rock, and her leg was bleeding. She had 2 puncture wounds. So we immediately got some Kleenex out, and Tally was licking her wound. It was like, oh no, I'm sorry, I hurt you. Now I was frightened. And the next day, the dog control officer did come. I invited him into my home. He sat at the kitchen table. He looked at me and he said, I'm going to seize your dog. And I said, what? And he said, yes, your dog has bit a woman. She's got 2 punctures. I'm going to seize your dog. Will you surrender your dog for euthanization? I said, what? No. Yeah, please, give me another chance. He said, your dog is going to be locked up for 15 months. It's going to cost you thousands of dollars in legal fees, and I don't think you want to do that. Will you surrender your dog for euthanization? I said, no, I won't. So he walked out the door, and I was in tears. 3 weeks after he was seized, I got a copy of an application to destroy Tally. And this is a sworn statement from dog control that goes to the court, and it was a lie. It said, Tally bit the woman and never let go of her leg until the owner came. That was a complete bloody lie. As time went on, it was clear that they were trying to do anything they could to kill that dog. And there was one lie after another. But eventually, after 5 months locked up, we were able to negotiate a release with conditions. And the dog had a happy life until he died when he was 12 years old. But the whole problem with this story is that, was this a municipal bylaw that would allow something like this to happen? No, it was not. It wasn't a municipal bylaw. It was a provincial law. It is the most powerful law that you can imagine that allows a dog control officer to come into your house, take your dog, and that can be the end of it. It's like having your child kidnapped and you never see your dog again. It's euthanized, or you pay thousands and thousands of dollars for your day in court. This provincial law that gives dog control officers this superpower, it has to be changed.
Zach bit a dog that came onto his property. Chloe and Zach were seized January the 6th, 2009. They were held in a small cage for 2 years until trial. Their owner said that she was told that Chloe would be returned if she allowed them to kill Zach. This was a decision that she simply could not make. Later in a 3-day trial, the judge decided to kill both dogs on March the 1st, 2011. This was appealed and a stay of execution was filed immediately. Chloe and Zach were killed at 10:55 a.m. that same day, while everyone was still in the courtroom appealing the decision. The death certificate stated that they were euthanized humanely. The owner said an autopsy confirmed that they were gassed. It takes 30 minutes to die in the gas chamber. It is an excruciating and painful death. They must have been terrified. The nature of our animal laws in BC often require owners to make impossible choices between saving the life of a family member or remaining financially solvent. We think this is unfair. Additionally, hundreds of days of court time are wasted on these cases, and over an 8-year period, the BC government has spent more than $1.6 million of taxpayers' money. We do not dispute the importance or necessity of animal control authorities, and we recognize the role they play in ensuring public safety. Our priorities are to create a balanced, cost-effective, and compassionate solution to the crisis currently facing BC's dogs and their families. Any dog is capable of making a mistake under the wrong circumstances. and then they find themselves caught up in this unfair and deadly system. If you agree that the current seizure and destruction cycle is inhumane and must stop, please join us in demanding change in Victoria. Please add your voice to reforming BC's unjust animal control laws. Thank you, and please give your dog a hug for me.